It looks like Congress is very close to passing the Honoring Our PACT Act. And in fact, they might get it passed and it might be signed by the president before I can even get all of this stuff recorded, edited, and posted to YouTube. And I also need to say that because it's pending law and it's not passed yet, it might change. So what's in this video, I might have to come back and update later. But I want to get some of this information out now because there's a lot of stuff in this bill and it's going to have a huge impact on veterans for years into the future. What I really want to talk about are the new presumptive conditions, mainly for burn pit exposure, but also for Agent Orange exposure. But before I get into all that, I need to say that these presumptive conditions are going to phase in over time. So they're going to have some weird effective dates into the future. In some cases, several years into the future. Now, as an initial point, there's a carve-out exception to all of this, and that is the effective date will be whenever the president signs this into law. If you are terminally ill, if you're over 85, if you're homeless, if you're undergoing extreme financial hardship, or if you have other justifiable reasons. I think the specific words they use are sufficient cause. Now, there's some gray area with these for sure. Who knows what counts as extreme financial hardship and what counts as sufficient cause? I don't think anybody knows the answer to those things yet. And I don't want to get into it just yet either, but I want to throw that out there. Now, some of these conditions are going to become effective on August 1st of this year, 2022. And then, most of the rest are going to phase in over time. And as I go through the list of presumptive conditions, I'll explain when their effective dates are. Let's start with Agent Orange. This law is going to add 2 new presumptive conditions associated with Agent Orange exposure. And those are monoclonal gammopathy and hypertension. Now, the monoclonal gammopathy is going to have an effective date of this year, on October 1st of 2022. Hypertension, on the other hand, is not going to be effective as a presumptive condition until October 1st of 2026. So you can see how these effective dates are going to get spread out over time based on specific conditions and essentially when the VA wants to pay for them. I'm going to hold off on that again because I want to get through the burn pit presumptions first. Now, there's a lot of them, which is a good thing. And I do want to say about the effective dates for these, just like with the 2 Agent Orange presumptive conditions, if you meet that criteria of being homeless, terminally ill, over 85, extreme financial hardship, or have other sufficient reason, then you can get these things immediately. But if you don't fit in one of those categories, then again, they're going to be staggered out. There are some of these conditions, a lot of them actually, that will take effect as soon as this becomes a law. And I'm going to read through that list right now. I'm going to also put it up on the screen. I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these medical words, but here we go. We've got asthma, we've got constrictive bronchiolitis, obliterative bronchiolitis, emphysema, granulomatous disease, interstitial lung disease, pleuritis, pulmonary fibrosis, sarcoidosis, chronic sinusitis, chronic rhinitis, glioblastoma, and 2 specific cancers, 2 types of cancers, and those are respiratory cancers of any type and brain cancers of any type. All right, there are 2 more conditions that will become effective on October 1st of 2023, and those are chronic bronchitis and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Next group, 1 year later on October 1st, 2024, will be a whole bunch of cancers. It's a head cancer of any type, neck cancer of any type, gastrointestinal cancer of any type, reproductive cancer of any type, lymphoma cancer of any type, lymphomatic cancer of any type, and pancreatic cancer. And then the last group on this list on October 1st of 2025 is going to be kidney cancer and melanoma. All right, so now you can see what's going to be covered under these new presumptions and when the VA is going to start paying for them, at least under the presumptive basis. you can still get service connection for any of these using the normal method, the non-presumptive service connection method. Right now, I want to transition and go back and talk about the weirdness of these effective dates. And I want to try to do this in a way that is as fair as I can possibly be. And so I need to say up front that all veterans' benefits of any kind are created by Congress. They are not constitutional in the same sense that the freedom of speech is, or something like that. You only have them. We only have them because Congress has said we can have them. So when I try to wrap my mind around these effective dates and why they're so staggered and spread out, I mean, if Congress is saying it's presumptive service connected, why is it apparently only presumptively service connected in 2025 in the case of a couple different things? And going back to the idea that this is created by Congress, so Congress can set the terms. And keeping in mind that you've got members of Congress that probably aren't on board with these presumptions, both from a medical causation context. Some people might not be convinced that burn pit exposure is going to cause all of these things. And to be fair, medical causation is hard, which, flip that around is why we need the presumptions in the first place, because proving it is so hard. But let me get back to the other side here. Then the other aspect of it is cost. There are some members of Congress that don't want to pay for this because it's going to be expensive. This bill is going to be extremely expensive. A lot of us feel like that's the cost of war. It's every bit of the cost of war as bullets, vehicles, airplanes, helicopters, you name it. But not everybody sees it that way. And if you're in Congress and you don't see it that way and you've got to vote, that means the rest of the members of Congress have to work with you and get something that will pass. So this thing is born out of compromise. Now, there's another side of that coin, and there's things that I think need to be said. And to be fair, they have been said by a lot of people other than me with bigger voices than me. But the reality is that these staggered effective dates for these presumptions feel a little bit like a punch to the gut. If you happen to be fighting, say, a reproductive type of cancer right now, and you believe that you got that cancer, we'll call it breast cancer, from toxic exposure on one of your 2 deployments to Iraq, not being able to claim disability for that until October 1st of 2024 is a really tough pill to swallow. And as much as she doesn't want me to say it, that is the exact position my wife is in right now. She is also a veteran with 2 deployments to Iraq, and she's been fighting breast cancer since last November. And Congress is saying to her, yeah, we think your service probably caused this, and we're willing to give you, service connection and disability benefits for it. Just sit tight for a couple of years, though. In the meantime, as anybody who's witnessed cancer up close can tell you, it has profound effects on your life, your ability to work, your ability to function. All the things that disability compensation is designed to do and designed to help with. I'll quit beating that dead horse. I think you get it. And don't feel sorry for the Walshes. We're doing fine. My wife is doing well, very well in her treatment. So things are good there. There are, again, exceptions to these effective dates if you meet that, well, I'll just call it the hardship criteria. And you can also still prove service connection the old-fashioned way. Okay, I have a lot of other thoughts on these new presumptive conditions, a couple that I want to talk about right now. First of all, I'm not 100% sure what types of cancers will be covered on those lists of cancers. Now, it says, for example, reproductive cancer of any type. And I am optimistic that any type really means any type. But going back to breast cancer is not on everybody's list of reproductive cancers. So is it covered? Is it not covered? I think it is. I think it should be. But time's going to tell on that. Okay, I just realized I feel like I've kind of ended this video on a bit of a downer, and I didn't want to do that. I don't want to do that. The PACT Act is huge. It's a great thing for veterans, and I'd much rather have it with all of its flaws, in my opinion, than to not have it at all. This is gonna affect so many veterans in so many positive ways that overall it's a very good thing. I hope you found this video helpful. If you'd like me to help you with your VA disability claim, you can reach out to me through the links below. I'm Al Walsh, a veteran who likes to help other veterans. Thanks for watching.